What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Hey everybody, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and of course DK in the background doing his thing. So we're really excited to bring you guys a new episode, but not super excited about what we're going to be talking about today. Recently, Glenn, we talked about the running back list that PFF put out, and that J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards were both slighted.
The blasphemy that list spewed was ridiculous.
Yeah, and you know what? While PFF fell from our good graces at that point and lost a little bit of credibility in our eyes, and we love PFF, you know, we use it a lot on this show. Then they followed up with a tight end list.
Yeah, and while that is not
right
as frustrating, as egregious, I do have a bone to pick with them.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over it. And we're going to talk about, you know, I think Glenn and I got 2-3, like he was talking about, those bones to pick with PFF. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at this list. As you guys can imagine, we're going to be looking for Mark Andrews here. So we'll start at the top and go ahead down, Glenn. Why don't we, you know, and I don't know where your qualms start, but why don't we go ahead and list them off and talk about how we feel about it?
Yeah, so Travis Kelce at the top of the list. I don't think you're going to get many arguments there. He's been ultra productive and consistent throughout his career. And, of course, it helps when you have studs at virtually every offensive position around you and a fantastic play caller in Andy Reid. But nonetheless, Travis Kelce makes the most of that situation and deserves to be at the very top of the list.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would agree with you there. No argument from me, no argument from you. George Kittle, I think, is the ultimate Swiss Army knife at the position, the ultimate blue collar lunch pail guy, but can, you know, obviously can go out and get it done, carries a lot of the load in the passing game for them, but also is an incredible blocker, hand in the dirt type guy that will think you're crazy if you're upset at him about not putting up fantasy numbers. He's not about that, but certainly can carry a lot of that load for them and does it all type guy. So I don't have any qualms with number 2 either. Do you?
No, not at all. I mean, I'd like to see him be on the field a little bit more often.
Sure.
That's been his big thing. But when he's on the field, there's no doubt that he's and actually, if both are healthy, I'd probably lean a little bit towards Kittle even over Kelce because of that run blocking that you mentioned.
His overall versatility is just ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a monster receiver and a monster as a run blocker. Then number 3, we have Darren Waller, who any Ravens fan who's been a Ravens fan long enough is still a little bit sick when they see his name pop up and see his stat line ticking across the bottom of their screen on Sundays because he's an absolute monster as a receiver. He's a freak athlete with his size and speed and really gets better every year now that he's cleaned himself up. Still not the most impressive blocker, but so impressive as a receiver to be lined out wide and such a mismatch that I think he deserves, especially with the volume, the attention he gets, and he always seems to live up to that and makes a play. So yeah, Darren Waller at number 3, no arguments there.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if you had any issues. The one thing I can say is I have no arguments here, but I could see our guy, of course, Andrews, making a case for himself. Like, you have a case, but I get it. I agree with you. The volume, the uniqueness of Darren Waller, the fact that he's just a monster receiver in all reality. I mean, his speed is just ridiculous at the position. But number 4 is where I started losing it.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting because you and I, when we looked at this list, we brought up 2 separate things. But number 4 for me is the most ridiculous thing I think I see on this list, at least me personally, because it's all upside. It's all upside.
And speculation. Yeah.
You've never seen this kid play a down in the NFL. And then on top of that, look at the weapons he's going to have around. He's going to have Hayden Hurst, obviously, to accompany him at tight end. He's going to have Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in the league when he's healthy, Calvin Ridley, and then he's got Matt Ryan throwing the ball. So to me, he's not going to get number 1 receiver type pressure like a Waller, like a Kelce, or even a Kittle. He's never going to see that because they can't afford to do that, because you can't leave Julio alone. You can't leave Calvin Ridley. They're going to, dice you up. And then on top of it, like I said, he's never played in the NFL a day. Do people forget about busts And for, what isn't the percentage essentially for first round busts like 50%? Isn't it pretty much a coin toss?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are ESPN 30 for 30s about NFL busts. I'm not saying Kyle Pitts is going to be a bust, but you can't put him fourth on the list. You can't. Right. So that's my issue. That's
just remember, no, it wasn't too long ago that OJ Howard was going to be the next gift to the tight end position and a guaranteed, all pro. And to this point, in my opinion, he's been a disappointment. So yeah, I agree with you. While he was fantastic in college, had the most amazing combine or pro day performance that maybe we've ever seen from that position, you still don't exactly know how he's going to play in the NFL. And of course, like you mentioned, plenty of mouths to feed around him. So what kind of workload is he going to be getting in his rookie year? Now, Julio could be on his way out, and that might change some things. But as of right now, there's a lot of mouths to feed. But okay, Kyle Pitts, so he's at 4. Little problem there.
Yeah, obviously we still know Andrews in sight.
Yeah, no Andrews yet, and we're not going to see him here just yet. Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles comes in at number 5.
Now, I think this is where you started to lose your mind.
Yeah, this is where I got a little bit perturbed, okay? Because here's the thing. If the tight end on his team that's in the same room of him is going to still be on his team and is presumably healthy, which he is right now, he's not even the best tight end in his own team. I mean, he's looking at the seat next to him in the tight end room, and he's looking at a better tight end in Zach Ertz. So that's why I have a big problem with him being there. Look, he's a talented player. I mean, Dallas Goedert's a very good player. He came in the league the same year that Andrews came in the league, and he had 46 catches for 520 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. He's a good player. But, Mark Andrews is a better player, in my opinion, at 58 catches for 701 yards and 7 touchdowns. And by the way, over a 3-year stretch, Mark Andrews has far more touchdowns. He's got 20 touchdowns in his first 3 years to Dallas Goedert's 12. He's got 2,100 yards to Dallas Goedert's 1,400. And the reason he's on the list, if you can read the window there, is because they rave about him as not just a receiving threat, but they compliment his blocking. And I mean, my question would be, well, how much are you weighing in the blocking or how much are you weighing on the receiving? Because everyone, their brother, expects Kyle Pitts to not be a very good blocker, to be a primarily a receiving threat, a guy you want to line up out wide and not at the end of your line of scrimmage. So that's a little bit of a head scratcher. And then also, I mean, number 3 on the list is Darren Waller. He's certainly not known for being a mauler in the run game. So I'm just not sure why they're weighing it. And let's be honest, Mark Andrews may have come into the league and he, may have been known more as just a receiver, but he's improved his run blocking every season since he's been in the league at a 70 run block grade to Dallas Goedert's 80 last year, but has gotten better every year. So, and by the way, he had a better pass blocking grade than Dallas Goedert. So, by a decent margin. So I'm not really sure. What are your thoughts on Dallas Goedert making it ahead of Andrews on this list?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. DK, you got to make me big for this one because I'm about to go in on this.
Right.
This is so insane to me that, look, this is one of the things I look at when I look at this list. We kind of touched on this, that you have to look at the weapons around you. So I've made this statement on the show before, like this exists a lot in the NBA where someone has to score points, right? So there's the best player on a bad team ends up putting up empty calorie points and has good stats, right? Number 1 scoring offense in the NFL in the past, 2 years? Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
The number 1 target on the number 1 scoring offense, I didn't say passing, I said scoring offense in the NFL. The number 1 passing target is who? Mark Andrews. Right. Yep. In the past 3 years, he leads our team in targets. In the past 3 years, he leads the NFL in for tight ends and touchdowns. I think he's tied with Kelsey in the past 2 years. So and then if you add to that, people will say, well, look at his wide receiver core around him. Of course, he's going to get a ton of attention because of the guys that are in front of him. He might have the worst wide receiver core around him. Now, there's some other.
The Raiders are struggling.
And the Niners.
Yeah, they got Debo. They got
and they had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. So it's arguable. But look, people always rag the fact that we were the worst. We had the worst, based on counting numbers, the 32nd ranked wide receiver core as far as production last year, right?
Yep.
In yards. So, but to the contrary, so yeah, Andrews is going to get attention, but defenses know to stop our passing game, where's 89?
Yep.
That's all it takes for them. And he still gets it done. No one has more pressure to produce, in my opinion, than Mark Andrews to make their team go, to make their team good. Because if they shut down Andrews, it's run the ball. It's 8 guys in the box and shut down Andrews and we lose. And guess what? They don't do it. Obviously. I mean, look at our record. He still gets it done. So this is insane to me that you would put Dallas Goedert and a rookie. The disrespect. How mad do you think Andrews was when he saw this list?
I'm sure it motivated him.
Oh my gosh, man. I tell you what, it's motivating me. I'm about to grow a foot and put on 70 pounds.
Strap the chin scraps.
That's right.
Grow a foot.
That's right.
You'll be up there with Andrew's size then.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, we can continue down the list because I have some questions about some other guys on the list, but obviously that was the big one that really got us fired up. But Andrews is right behind Goddard at the 6th spot on this list, and deservedly so. I think he should be higher, but he certainly deserves to be at least at number 6. But then quickly we'll rattle off a few after him before we get into what really bugs us about the remainder of the list. But TJ Hawkinson from the Lions is number 7. Mike Gesicki.
I was kind of surprised by Gesicki this high, my opinion.
Well, especially when you consider, didn't they just draft another tight end? If I'm remembering correctly, I thought they drafted
out of Penn State, right? Didn't they take the?
No, the Steelers got him. I can't remember.
Right.
I thought they did get another tight end, but I could have sworn they did because they like Flores. They like having multiple tight ends in that offense. And then number 9, Rob Gronkowski of the Tampa Bay Bucks, who I think is now tied to the hip of Tom Brady. And then number 10, we have Hunter Henry from the New England Patriots. Noah Fant at 11 from the Denver Broncos. Jonnu Smith also from the New England Patriots at number 12. And then Zach Ertz, the guy we were just talking about. He comes in at number 13 from the Philadelphia Eagles. Logan Thomas, who really came on strong last season from the Washington football team, helped me win a couple games down the stretch in my fantasy league. Robert Tonyan, who I don't know if there's a player out there who benefits more from their quarterback and the fact that he has Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But Robert Tonyan from the Packers comes in at 15. Jared Cook, number 16 from the LA Chargers, who it just seems like Jared Cook has played for every team and has been around forever, and he continues to produce.
It's insane. He's an ageless wonder to me.
He is.
I don't even know how old he is at this point.
No.
You're right. It seems like he's been around forever.
I might draft him this year on my fantasy team. I would not overlook him out in LA. And then Austin Hooper from the Cleveland Browns comes in at 17. Tyler Higbee from the LA Rams at 18. Evan Ingram from the Giants at 19.
You want to talk about force feeding? They force feed the heck out of Evan Ingram, man. And the fact that he made the Pro Bowl with 1 touchdown. 1.
Crazy.
I mean, talk about a head scratcher.
And really, every year, if anyone's had him on your fantasy team, he's disappointed you. Yeah, he's disappointed you. He makes you crazy. He's got 25 drops in the last 4 seasons.
Oh. And in big moments, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, when you're relied upon, tends to happen that way if you got the dropsies like he does. But then number 20, interesting. We go back-to-back G-men, Kyle Rudolph. And this is where I start to get a little bit fired up, Jimbo. I start to get a little bit angry about this list, but I'm going to keep going. Number 21, we got Gerald Everett coming over from the Rams to join the Seattle Seahawks. Number 22, Mo Alley Cox from the Indianapolis Colts, who one of our sleeper players we were hoping the Ravens might go after in the offseason. Didn't work out. He went back to the Colts. Then O.J. Howard, who we mentioned earlier from the Tampa Bay Bucks. So now we got 2 Bucks on this list, right? We got 2 Bucks. We got 2 Giants on this list, right? We got let's see, and we're about to have 2 Colts because we got Jack Doyle at 24 from the Indianapolis Colts. Now I'm starting to get fired up, Jimbo. I'm starting to get a little angry here, Jimmy. Now,
all right.
We got Eric Ebron at 25 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Irv Smith Jr. from the Minnesota Vikings. 27, we got Hayden Hurst. We got another Falcon on the list. We got 2 Falcons. Hayden Hurst coming in at 27. Anthony Ferkser, who's now the number 1 tight end for the Tennessee Titans. Jordan Akins, who everyone is high on and maybe the only player in the Houston Texans uniform that players are the pundits and fans are high on. Number 30, Adam Troutman, who's a young tight end for the New Orleans Saints. Blake Jarwin comes in at 31 from the Dallas Cowboys. And a third, that's right, Jimbo, a third Tampa Bay Buck on the list as Cameron Brate ends the list of 32. And here's where I start to get angry. You know, I'm going to kick it to you because I've been feeling about. What do you see a problem here, Jimbo?
Yeah, I mean, I see a problem, and I think what you're getting to is that we have one Raven on the list. We think he's still, we think he's disrespected. And then it's really easy for any of us to make an argument that Nick Boyle is much more valuable to his team and probably a better player than a few of these guys on the back end of this list. And it's not like, they can just refer to injury because OJ Howard is nothing but a walking injury. I mean, he's really done very little other than get hurt. And then, you add in Brate and even Mo Alley Cox flashes. And that's the thing that I think that has him on the list. But overall production, as long as his production is crazy out of this world, but he does flash. But they're talking about dual threats. I think that Nick Boyle is readily or constantly underestimated as a receiving threat. And obviously he's valued well as a blocking tight end, but as one of the best, certainly. And I think better than Dallas Goedert, just my opinion. But yeah, certainly, they talked about ranking Dallas Goedert so high because he's a dual threat. I think Nick Boyle has shades of that, just like any other guy. And so, yeah, I think he deserves to be on this list. If a team's going to have 3 tight ends on this list, I think the Ravens, it's fair that you have 2. Not fair for the sake of being fair, but fair based on your eyes, the eye test, on numbers, think about our run game and how reliant we are on a guy like Nick Boyle to get it done in the run game. Right? Yeah. I mean, come on, every guy
underrated as a receiver too, Jimbo, like you mentioned. I mean,
absolutely.
They hate on his athleticism, but look, do you think there's many DBs that want to see Nick Boyle running down the field with the ball in his hands? I don't think so.
He's a horse.
He'll either run you over, he'll jump over you, which, shows off that athleticism. I mean, this guy is not afraid of contact. You mentioned his blocking is absolutely fantastic, and he shows off that blocking in the best running team in the league. So the fact that, Blake Jarwin, who's, like you mentioned, injury issues, my goodness, Blake Jarwin's always hurt. And then the fact that they have 3 tight ends from the Bucks, stop it. Just stop it. It's just ridiculous. Jack Doyle. I'm just not a fan of the fact that the Ravens continually, in my opinion, get disrespected by PFF and these lists they're putting out there. Now, the one thing I'll say that might be keeping him off this list, as my dog has the zoomies and is sprinting behind the camera, who just ripped my charging cord out. But the biggest issue I have is the fact that, and I get it. They might be talking about, let's knock him down a few pegs because he's coming off an injury. Now, that's the only saving grace that I'll allow PFF to say. Now, they didn't give their explanation on why he didn't make the list, but that's the only reason I'll accept is if they say he's coming off an injury. We're not sure, what his outlook is right now going into 21. But I don't think it was the injury that kept him off, Jimbo. I really don't, because I think he's been underrated his entire career. I remember back when he got signed to that extension, there were people doubting it. And now he had some issues with some suspensions, and maybe, that was a lot of the criticisms. But outside of the injury that he had last year, if you're going by just off of performance and value to their team, this guy is extremely valuable. He's going to play a ton of snaps, whether he's a receiving target or not. He's going to be on the field, and he's either running routes or he's laying the wood out there. Yeah, I'm a little upset I don't see him on there when I see multiple teams with multiple players, some teams with 3. That's where I have a problem with it. If you want to, I feel like if you're going to have 3 tight ends, we got to have 2 when you talk about a team that uses their tight ends more than any team in the league.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. And we are interested to know what you guys are thinking as well. Make sure that you leave all your comments below. Leave us a like, of course. Help us out with the algorithm. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.